I want to look at what Psalm 119 has to say about that. Because digging into that psalm, I found over 50 different lessons. I mean, you could say less or more, but I'm going to read out all 50. We're not going to go through each one of them, but I'm going to read through it quickly. It's a long list. But these are 50 lessons which I think you can draw out from the Psalm 119 as to how do we approach the Word of God. What is our attitude to it? How do we understand what to do with this? So I'm going to go through very quickly all of those and then focus on a few of them before coming to the practical side of it. So I hope you're ready for a list of 50-odd lessons from the Psalm. So how do we approach the Word of God? Based on Psalm 119, I believe it says we are to walk in it, we are to keep it or guard it, we are to direct our ways to it, we're to pay attention to it, we're to learn it and study it, we're not to go astray from it, we're to treasure it or hide it in our hearts. But at the same time, we're to declare it, we're to rejoice in it, we're to meditate on it, we're to delight in it, we're not to forget it, we're to see wonderful things in it, we're to long for it at all times, we're to be counseled or advised by it, we are to understand it, we're to place it before us, we're to cling to it. And just to pause here, when I was in Israel, I used to go to these Bible studies, and there was a man there who would literally cling to his Bible. He used to lead the Bible study, and sometimes he would hold it like this. That's because he loved his word, he read it. That's clinging to it. That's just a little story about clinging to it. Run to it. We're to incline our hearts to it. We're to be built up or established in it. We're to perceive it as good. We're to perceive it as righteous. We're to perceive it as being vast. We're to perceive it as being settled in heaven. We're to perceive it as the truth. We're to perceive it as being steadfast or faithful. We're to perceive it as sweet, like honey. We're to perceive it as right or straight. We're to perceive it as a lamp and a light. Everyone knows, that verse. We're to perceive it as a possession even, or an inheritance. We're to use it against those who would reproach us as an answer. So that's a kind of apologetic sense. We're to hope in it. We're to seek it. We're to love it. We're to lift up our hands to it. We're to turn our feet to it. We're to be reminded of it. We're to be comforted by it. We're to be revived or quickened or sustained by it. We're not to forsake it. We're to sing it, which we do. We're to give thanks for it. We're to believe it. We're to value it above gold and silver. We're to know it. We're to have blameless hearts regarding it. We're to revere it, or stand in awe of it. We're not to break it or violate it or regard it as void. We're not to be far from it. We're to choose it. We're to be helped by it. And we're also, lastly, to do it. We're to do it. That was 50-odd lessons that we can get from that psalm alone.